thank you for coming out. And
tour starting.
Thank you. You have a better voice than I do. Yeah. The only rule that I have is that if you have questions, please ask them. The topic is, fall flowering things. I will highlight a few plants in the shade garden, but because I'm doing a similar tour next weekend focused on the shade garden, I'm going to focus mostly on the sun garden. We'll walk a fair amount of distance because the plants I want to point out to you are here, there, and everywhere. One of the sure signs of fall is when the tea olive bloom, the Osmanthus fragrans meaning fragrant, and I think probably everybody is familiar with the plant. Usually one smells it on the air before they even realize it's in bloom, and to me it was always a sign that summer is giving way to fall. I can pass that around and you can smell it. There's a big plant over there that's not yet in bloom. This one is from the front garden, so if after our tour you go through the front garden you smell a really delightful smell, that's what you're smelling. They're large evergreen shrubs or small trees, very shade tolerant. They are called tea olive because they are in the olive family, and the flowers are used to perfume tea. All right, we're going to take 20 steps this way and then come back this way, but I just want to highlight a plant over here. Oh, I lied. Okay. I'm setting a bad example by standing in the bed. Visitors are not allowed to stand in the bed. This is a salvia, a type of salvia that has the common name of autumn sage. They are native to the southwest US and Mexico, where in a long, hot, dry summer they tend to not bloom much during the summer, but then they really freshen up in the fall. But with our milder summers, they tend to bloom from April up until hard frost, usually in November. They do have a whole lot more flowers than they did a few weeks ago because we've been dry lately. The most common colors are red and pink. They can also be white. You see this coral one. There are blue ones and violet ones. And this one, this is, Blaze, is it? Yeah, I think it's Blaze. The little bulb out front is the little hurricane lily or schoolhouse lily, both of those names from the time of year that it blooms, or the oxblood lily. It's a little amaryllis relative. It's in that family, the amaryllis family. I always think that late summer and fall is the beginning of the bulb season. Suddenly we have a bunch of different things that are growing from bulbs coming back into bloom. Like the spider lilies and the surprise lily. And in a moment we'll see some colchicums, which are another fall blooming bulb. They get better year after year. When the bulbs multiply, you'll see more flowers. And a really nice thing about them, this is their second flush of bloom. They have already created this display, and then they'll finish, and then a few weeks later they're back into bloom. And this is a fairly thin clump. If we were standing here like 4 or 5 years from now, there'd be like 2 or 3 times as many flowers on it. So they do get better the longer they're left undisturbed. There's a little sedum on that edge, and some of the sedums are definitely late summer and fall blooming. They're often very good pollinator plants. We'll head this way now. Okay. You can join the group if you want. Oh, this is a related salvia with really beautiful blue flowers, Salvia chimidrioides.
Question about the salvias?
Yeah, of course.
I just moved here from Texas. I'm familiar with them.
Yeah.
Is there any anything different you have to do to grow them in North Carolina?
The autumn sages are really easy. They're real easy plants for us. We don't have any trouble with them coming through the winter.
Okay.
They will tolerate our average soil. If your soil is poorly drained, I would amend them, but as long as their water doesn't stand after a rain, they should do well.
Okay.
The autumn sage generally are better the more sun they get. They'll go with like half-day sun, but the plants will be scrawny and not bloom as much. I think as we cut through the shade garden, I'll point out a salvia that is suitable for shade gardens. This is a colchicum. Most people know them as colchicums. I think the English call them naked boys because they bloom without the foliage. The foliage isn't put up until springtime. It grows from a good-sized bulb. They're slow to multiply, but these labels, I don't know if it has the year on it it was planted. No, it doesn't. Our engraved labels, I'll tell you a secret about our engraved label. It has a QR code on it, which currently doesn't go anywhere, probably will at some point, but under the QR code is the year something was planted. Like this little rain lily was planted in 2003. And I always hate pulling them out of these gravelly areas because they're hard to put back in the ground. Now, the colchicums you would buy from a vendor that sells tulips and daffodils, I don't know that I've ever seen them sold as potted plants, but you buy them this time of year, you'll plant them, and they'll bloom, and then, provided they have adequate drainage, which is just normal drainage, they get better year after year. All right.
So what's the time in which you would buy them and plant them?
This time of year? Yeah, fall. The same time you would buy tulips and daffodils. Yeah, and they're expensive. Like one bulb might cost you $5, but I'm telling you, they should be permanent in your garden, so it'll be a good investment because there are a lot of bulbs like the big fancy alliums and tulips that most tulips, you get 1 year of bloom and then that's it.
And would you need to refrigerate them?
No.
Storage?
No. Our winters will be cold enough. That clump was probably one bulb when it was planted, and I'm guessing that was planted 15 years ago or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are those purple curls?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to point that one out. Thank you. Yeah. This is a Liatris. Again, like the Colchicums, most people know Liatris by the scientific name. They have a couple common names that you see in literature. I don't know anybody who uses the common names. The two common names I'm aware of. One common name is gay feather. The other one is blazing star. It's a North American genus. A couple of the species are native to North Carolina. They're native pretty much across the U.S. You always know a Liatris when you see it because they're always going to be this color unless it's a rare white form of the species. But this one isn't a real typical form. Usually it's a unbranched spike of flowers, but this one has really branched. It's a hybrid that we made here.
And it's a bulb?
That's a good question. It does make a tuber that you could call a bulb underground, and sometimes the same vendors that sell daffodils and tulips will sell Liatris bulbs.
Okay.
Yeah, but generally...
You would just plant them like you, at the same time you would do tulips and daffodils?
Yeah, you can plant them any time of the year that you get them. If they sell them in the spring, you can plant them then. If they sell them now, you can plant them now.
Liatris never made it to this late in the year.
Well, it's a big genus. Most of the species look very similar, but they have different times when they bloom. These species bloom late, and like the most common one, Liatris spicata, bloomed, and that's probably the only one that the bulb vendors would have, and that's also a real popular florist cut crop. But that bloomed April or May, and then it's done for the year. So you can grow many different species and have them bloom at different times.
So you guys created this species
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they have some for sale.
No, we do have 2 species for sale, and they're both ones that are in bloom now in the garden. One, I'm trying to think of the name. The cultivar is Bastrop Beauty. It's collected in Bastrop, Texas, and it's blooming over by the Porta-Johns. And it's about this tall in bloom. It's a real beautiful one.
And where are those?
Where are they for sale?
Yeah.
Oh, our sales greenhouses are 3 greenhouses beyond the ones you see right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry with this so much toing and froing, but I want you to see the plants I want you to see. Okay. Alrighty. I'm going to try to speak loud enough so you all can hear me. This is a plant that's native to Texas and northern Mexico, to southern Texas and northern Mexico. It has many common names. The scientific name is Anisacanthus, which I haven't been able to find the derivation of that name, but it is related to acanthus, the plant with the big spiny leaves and the tall spikes of flowers. It's called flame acanthus or hummingbird bush or Texas flame flower. It starts blooming probably about midsummer and will go well into the fall. And it is, as you might guess with the name of hummingbird plant, one that is highly favored by hummingbirds. It's very drought tolerant. This is soil that is about 50% gravel, so it's this is a dry location. Full sun is what it prefers, and this is about mature size. Decades ago, when we had cold winters, it usually died to the ground, quickly regrew, and then bloomed like this. And nowadays, the stems sometimes live through the winter, so they'll put new growth off of the previous year's stems. There is an orange selection of it we have beyond here called pumpkin. Great plant. Our native asters have been reclassified by those who classify organisms, the people known as taxonomists, and none of our native asters are in the genus Aster. The only European and Asian asters are still asters, and they didn't move them all into one genus but into many genera. And this one that used to be Aster linearifolia is now Ainonactus linearifolia. I think you could probably figure out linearifolia referring to the linear foliage. It has the common name of stiff aster, and if you want to gently pet the plant, you'll see that it is fairly stiff. Now, fall is when most asters bloom, and this one is actually going by, so it's really more of a late summer thing, but a good aster, and we'll see several other asters. If you're smelling, I hope what is to your nose smells pleasant. It's this large shrub here. It's, but it has that sort of almond scented all summer long. It actually is a verbena relative, and as big as it is, it dies to the ground every winter. So we cut the dead stems off, and then it quickly regrows and blooms for months and months. It's even more fragrant in the evening.
So a lot of these are kind of burnt out. Is that because you guys don't water them in the summertime?
The asters specifically,
Or some of the other stuff?
well, some of the things are because they're going dormant, but we're a little behind on watering in the garden. Irrigation system's been problematic, but something like the aster, it's just finishing up blooming. Yeah.
This with the little white flower is fascinating. It's like round
The little
cover.
white flowers are falling off of this.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is a super cool plant. You probably know Amsonia, blue star.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a species with prostrate foliage called Georgia pancake, and it has the little blue flowers in the spring. But I think it's a really pretty ground cover through the summer. It'll turn brown with frost and then disappears for the winter. But the little white flowers on this Amsonia are falling off of this. The Amsonia had blue flowers in the spring.
What's the red?
The red is the little oxblood lily again that we saw out by the parking lot. Yeah, okay. Alrighty. Oh my goodness. Yeah, somebody said Aurelia. Yes, it's Aurelia. It's the one with bright yellow foliage, but late in the years it turns more yellow. But any member of the Aurelia family, which is the same family as ivy and a lot of tropical plants, are really good plants for pollinators. Not necessarily a super showy plant in bloom, but you can see all the insects visiting the flowers. Rostronicula looks a lot like some butterfly bushes, but it's not a butterfly bush. And it blooms for an extended period of time, but we now have learned that we need to cut it down after it's done blooming, because otherwise we get carpets of seedlings. But it's a lovely thing in late summer and early fall. All right. We, in the big picture, we are discovering more members of the African violet family. Can I ask you to step out of the bed there? That are actually winter hardy for us. It's a large family and it's mostly tropical, but this is a member of the African violet family. The genus is Hemiboea. It's an Asian genus. I think this species is native to China, and it's just starting to bloom. You can see all these big fat flower buds, and so it's just starting. And that, if we were leading this tour probably a week from now, there'd be a lot more flowers. The flowers look like a big foxglove, and it is a spreader. It's not an aggressive spreader. Let's see, where is its label? Oh, that's its label. Yeah, this was planted 5 years ago, so that's not too bad in 5 years. It does disappear in the winter, but regrows every spring. And if I can take us down that path, we'll see a couple more fall blooming shade plants. The toad lilies, Tricertus, are primarily late summer, fall blooming shade perennials. None of them are evergreen. They disappear come frost late in the year, but they have an extended period of bloom this time of year. This is one of our seedlings, and Tony gave it a name just 2 days ago when he did, because he's been watching it for a bunch of years. I think this label probably says when it was planted. 2019, that's quite a few years, and he's decided it's worthwhile. Some Triceratops are rather sprawly. This has a nice compact growth habit, and that's another seedling over here with a sprawlier growth habit but bigger, sort of slightly more violet flowers. And I mentioned that there are a few species of Salvia that are actually shade plants, not sun plants. And this is Salvia glutinosa, and it's just starting to bloom. And you can see all these flower spikes that maybe in a week's time there'll be lots and lots of flowers. This is a lovely sort of fuchsia purple one. They're white or yellow or pink. They don't bloom till now, and they disappear in the winter, but the foliage is handsome through the earlier months of the year. And we'll, if you're willing, continue out in the sun garden. The heliotrope isn't exactly a fall blooming perennial because it blooms almost at least 11 months of the year. So it's a fall perennial, but much wider than that. And this is a young plant that just got planted 3 or 4 months ago, so it hasn't even completely filled this area. You see, it's pollinators really like it too. There'd probably be more pollinators if there weren't 20 of us standing all around it. Oh my goodness, look at all the wasps. They're a scolid wasp? Yeah. This is a eryngium native to the southeast. It might be the only flower that the scolid wasps visit, because when this eryngium is in bloom, they're just covered with those wasps. And if you're nervous around creatures, they look like wasps that might bite you, but I don't think they are even capable, but they're so focused on nectaring that they won't bother you. This is a species that was thought to be extinct in South Carolina, and Patrick McMillan spent a lot of time trying to locate it, and he finally located when he almost ran off the road into a ditch, and when he got out of his vehicle, he saw it was growing in the ditch. It's a little bit past its peak. Some of the flowers are turning dark, but they're really blue. And it is native to wet areas. We haven't had a rain in a long time, but there's often standing water in this. But it does equally well just in soil that gets irrigated periodically. It's eryngium ravenellii, named for the botanist who discovered it in maybe the 1800s or so. Ravenel's eringo. My goal has been to get all the plants that we sell into the gardens that our visitors are able to see, because Tony's 4 acres around his house are not open to the public. And there's some really good plants over there that aren't out in these gardens. So 2 years ago, I gathered seed and sprinkled it here. And it took 2 years for the plants to get to blooming size. This is its foliage. The foliage is more grass-like than a lot of the eryngiums. Some of the eryngiums have very cut and spiny leaves. All right. The shrub-like plant in the other side of the path with the white flowers is a bush clover, a lesbideza. That's white fountain. It's not at its peak of bloom yet. Oh, okay. Oh, phooey. Watch me cut myself.
Please don't.
Well, I don't have my pocket knife on me.
If I had one, I'd give it to you, bro.
Well, I feel like I'm not properly dressed if I don't have my pocket knife with me.
I know a lot of men like that too.
One of my favorite plants this time of year is this pink velvet banana. The bananas are in the genus Musa, which is the ancient Arabic name for bananas. And this is Musa velutina. Velutina means velvety. It's probably the root of the word velvet. And the fruit are sort of fuzzy. You can feel them. And you know, somebody in the audience has to ask, are they edible? Thank you. They are edible, but there's almost nothing to eat because a wild banana, and this is a wild species of banana, is filled with big hard seeds. The bananas we eat, the plantains we eat, have little black specks. Those are seeds that didn't develop. But I don't know that these seeds are, I can pass them, I can pass this around and you can feel the seeds and you can see they're sticky too. And the sap of bananas will stain your clothes permanently. You won't see the stain until you run it through the washer and the dryer, and then it comes out with tea-colored stains. It's a little early for it yet, but a really fun thing about this banana is that when they're ripe, they open themselves. And so the pink skin flexes back into 5 sections, so it becomes this white star with the cone of fruit sticking out of them. They're real easy to raise from seed, but I've always felt that they take months to germinate, but it always feels like they decide at some point that today is the day they're going to germinate, because you're waiting for months and then suddenly there are hundreds of seedlings coming up all at the same time. There's a real pretty stand of ginger lilies back there. They're sort of apricot colored. Now, you can ask me who that is. I spent about 10 minutes trying to figure it out from our database. And there's no record of a ginger lily in that bed, so I don't know who it is. You know, our plant collection is very well documented, but it's not perfect. Yeah. I led a tour yesterday specifically on grasses, but we didn't get to this section, and there's 2 really beautiful grasses. And there are grasses that bloom in the spring. There's some really nice grasses that bloom through the summer, but I really think late summer and certainly fall and winter is the peak time for the floral display of grasses. This is one of our native switch grasses, which is Panicum virgatum, and this is Dallas Blues, which is a fairly big selection of switchgrass. They look great all winter long. These plumes, you know, the whole plant turns tan with a frost, but structurally they look just the same all winter long. Late winter, you'll hear this little popping noise because the seeds are expelled explosively. It sort of sounds like a faraway pan of popcorn on the stove.
Do they actually populate from these seeds? Or?
We don't see many seedlings in the garden, so we don't find them ever to be a pest that way. Things like river oats, produce so many seedlings, but we don't find that these do. Now this is Miscanthus. You might recognize the plumes, but it's not the common Miscanthus sinensis. It's Miscanthus florigelus, called the giant Miscanthus, and it's less of a clump former, but it's a spreader. Now it's not rampant like some of the bamboos, but after a number of years you probably need to rein it in. I think it's really beautiful, and it's beautiful all winter long, but the stems are also just, their stems are really sturdy, so you could use them in place of a store-bought bamboo cane for staking little things. Now behind you is a big stand of European, Asian aster, and this is one of the asters that are still in the genus Aster. This is Aster tataricus, that from the Tatar Mountains in, I guess, eastern Russia. Am I correct? And it's just starting to bloom. It's a tall thing, but it almost always manages to stand up, which is nice because some of our asters are sort of sprawly, and they benefit from being cut back to make them branch out and stay shorter and sturdy. But Aster tataricus is very good at standing up. Has these really long leaves. If you've ever grown horseradish, the leaves remind me of horseradish leaves. Now this big mast down in the wet is one of our native asters, and that's not even going to start to bloom for another month. And that's really showy and blooming so late, like October into November. It's a really good plant for monarch butterflies when they need to fuel up for the trip to Mexico. All right. What? Silphium? Yeah. Oh my goodness, someone tied them up. The Silphium, this great big plant, this is a lot like Silphium perfoliatum, but it's not because the leaves don't clasp the stem, which is what perfoliatum is referring to. And normally they're covered with butterflies, but maybe because the flowers are going by. There are other species that are shorter growing, but they're really marvelous butterfly plants. And then we tend to cut them down before the seed is ripe, so we don't have hundreds of seedlings, but if you can leave them standing, the goldfinches will come and harvest the seed. Okay. The Turk's turban, or sleepy mallow, or I knew it as the, well, I hate that we have to compete with a leaf blower. That's not on our property, it's the neighbor's property. But the sleepy mallow, or Turk's turban, or I always knew it as the Scotchman's purse, which I'm sure is politically incorrect nowadays, is actually a hibiscus relative. The flowers never open up, but if you open the flower up, I think you'll see that it looks a lot like a hibiscus. You're welcome to pick a flower and do that yourself. It has the same column where all the stamens are clasping the stigmatic column. I'll make up a word. And you see it's 5-petaled like a hibiscus. But it blooms most of the summer up until frost. Despite having a closed flowers, the big bumblebees force their way in. Well, that opens readily. But it's also a great hummingbird plant. Very drought tolerant. It's native to the southwest, like the anisacanthus is. It dies to the ground every winter and then regrows quickly. And couple minutes ago, we saw the white form of Lespedeza. This is Lespedeza thunbergii. It's a legume, looks like a big shrub, but it dies to the ground every winter and regrows. It blooms a bit, probably about June, and then it's quiet for the rest of the summer, and then it blooms, has its main floral display this time of year in late summer, early fall. It's nice to have things that look really great at a time of the year when a lot of things are tired looking.
Seed heads?
No, the seed heads here are the monarda. That's the foliage of the monarda. They've sort of mingling with each other here. We saw that big mass of ginger lily over there. This is a real, it's one I really like. It's Hedicium raphilii, and it had a big flush of bloom earlier, and now it's reblooming some. This is one that'll be in bloom in about a week's time. They are related to the culinary ginger, and it grows from a rhizome that looks very much like the ginger you buy for cooking. Most species love to be out in the sun. They don't have to have sun all day, but there's also a number of species that actually will tolerate being in full sun, but they're happier if they're in part shade. The ones that don't like being out in full sun, the foliage looks really bad because the foliage is not really equipped to be out in full sun. I'm going to just step past you without walking into the prickly pear. I was thinking about this plant this morning when I was thinking about this tour. It's definitely a weed. What?
Bigweed?
Bigweed or pigweed? I can't hear too well with that leaf blower. This is, many of our weeds are native plants. And this is bidens. Bias to dens, as in teeth, because this is the plant that has the needle-like seeds that stick to your clothes. And these are blooming along the roadsides. I drove from Raleigh back down here, went to the Arboretum to see the orchid show today. And the showy ones look a lot like Coreopsis. They're really showy, they're just starting to bloom. But this is an odd species where they don't have the showy petals, just the little disc flowers in the center. And so it sort of goes unnoticed because it's not showy, but then when the seed are ripe, they end up stuck in your sweater or something. It's an annual, so it's really easy to control, but it's not spreading underground. Well, I think we might end this tour on a weed. Seems like a strange thing, but any questions before we go? Oh, yeah.
Do you think that ginger is deer resistant?
Oh, the gingers are.
Okay.
Now, somebody's going to raise their hand and say they eat them in my garden, but I've never known them.
Yeah.
I've never known them to eat them.
Okay.
And they don't have the leaf rollers that cannas do. Cannas are great plants, but if you're going to have to spray them for leaf rollers, but you don't need to do that with ginger lilies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the flower here?
The Peruvian lily, the Alstroemeria. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the modern garden selections are really good. Oh, I just realized this looks a lot like the Silphium, but it's a very rare species of Rudbeckia, great big Rudbeckia auriculata, which refers to the ear-like lobes at the base of the leaf, auricle, just starting to bloom. A lot of rare plants are perfectly easy garden plants. They're just rare often because they get wherever they were native to got converted to agricultural land or a Walmart parking lot or something.
Well, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Yeah.
That's lovely.